Hello YouTube. Today a bit of a different video. A lot of you liked yesterday's video about Count Hesseldor, where I brought back People of the Elder Scrolls, my series where I analyze the lore of one specific person out of the Elder Scrolls universe. You have to understand that as a series is usually only viable when the NPC has some substantial backstory, because nobody wants a 50-second video. However, in the past 2 years I did come across some very interesting Elder Scrolls characters that I really wanted to cover in a video but never found enough information on. So, after seeing yesterday's request to do more character-oriented videos, I decided to turn some of my research on minor characters into one video. So, today I will limit it to some Skyrim characters in this video, but if you guys want I can publish some more of my research in video format or on other minor characters across the whole Elder Scrolls series. So, let me know what you think of this video, the People of the Elder Scrolls video where I do multiple people. So, without further ado, let's actually kick off with this video. So, the first character I've been wanting to cover since the beginning of this channel is Salvianus. Salvianus is an old Imperial war veteran living in the Rift and Redways. We don't get a lot of backstory on him, but the things we do get point to a pretty sad story. Salvianus used to be a commander of the Imperial Legion during the Great War. He was assigned to a detachment that fought in Cyrodiil, presumably during the battle for the Imperial City. We can hear him recall the battles on Lake Rumer at night, with the burning ships on the water seeming like stars coming to Earth, and that it was beautiful to look at really. When we talk to him, he tells us of endless golden enemies he had to slay, that these enemies were golden even after they're dead, and with their only other color being the red of their blood. These are clearly the Altmerry soldiers that he's slain, because Altmerry armor is generally golden, if you look at elven armor in Skyrim. When the Thalmor soldiers come to the Redways to arrest Esbern during the main quest, he falls into despair, shouting that the Thalmor can't be here, and that they are already dead, and that he has killed them over and over again. And that's, well, clearly points to the fact that, well, he is very traumatized by the war. And after the war he received a medal for his bravery, but he threw it away, hoping that it would help him cope with his memories. But throwing away his medal did not help him in any way to cope with his memories of the war. And he slowly went mad after the war. And as you can hear, the man is clearly traumatized and he only remembers a few traumatizing events. Still in a sort of permanent shock. He clearly suffers from PTSD or just straight up shell shock, and I very much sympathize with this character. Whenever I'm doing the main quest I always make sure to especially protect him from harm when Thalmor are in the Redways, because I don't want him to suffer anymore, to be honest. His story is a short but very sad one in my opinion, which makes him by far one of the most interesting characters in the game for me, but also one of the saddest characters in the game for me. The next character that I want to talk about is Runil, the priest of Arkay we find in Falkreath. Just like Salvianus, he's a great war veteran, rather, he fought on the side of the Dominion. This makes him peculiarly interesting, as he is the only character to my knowledge that is actually a Dominion war veteran that we ever get to talk to, that isn't a Thalmor and actually regrets his action in the war, showing that not all High Elves agreed with the Great War and its effects in the end. During the Great War he too was a commander, and he was a commander of an Altmerry battle mage detachment. He was, according to his own saying, one of the best battle mages in the army, and he said that he got discovered by the Thalmor at a relatively young age for his talent in magic, and that he, in the Somerset Isles, got selected by them, and that in the Somerset Isles one always accepts when the Thalmor ask them to serve them, as it's supposedly a great honor to serve the Thalmor. This path would lead him to become a commander of a detachment of battle mages during the Great War. He now recalls how he and his unit did terrible things like killing men, women and children mindlessly, destroying entire villages. He sometimes led his detachment on missions behind enemy lines, and recently had a dream of an old mission where they had to capture a supply depot near Chedenol. He is now very troubled and seems to have taken a very bad disliking towards the Thalmor, as he speaks of them as manipulators when he tells you that they let them to go to war with the Empire, And that his diary tells us that he is also being on his guard for the Thalmor and tries to avoid them, indicating that he probably fled his homeland after the war. He was very troubled by what he had done and often had nightmares about what he has done. More recently, some of his dreams had come back, and one of his dreams even foreshadowed the coming of the dragons, even before they had been seen in Skyrim. In the end, he just wants to do good now, resorting to service as a priest, vowing to never kill with magic again, as he now too regrets all the killing, and he just wants to be accepted, and is glad that the citizens of Falkreath accept him for who he is, and accept him as a peaceful priest of Arcane. The curious thing, however, is that he says that he is a very powerful battle mage, but whenever he is attacked or a dragon attacks, he just flees and just attacks with his dagger rather than using magic. It's really weird, because at least you would think that in self-defense he would still use his magic. So either he has a very big ethic that he doesn't want to use magic ever again to kill anyone, even in self-defense, or Bethesda just was lazy in programming and did not give him the magical skills. Either way, the next character that I want to talk about is Farengar Secretfire. With this character I somewhat have a personal relationship, as some people keep telling me in the comments and YouTube videos, especially Mr. Straight Up Irish, that I sound like him. But I don't really see the resemblance, if I have to be honest. Anyway, Farengar Secretfire is the court wizard of Whiterun, where he advises Jarl Balgruuf in magical matters. He has his own little section of the keep in which he has a laboratory, where he practices magical studies and more recently has been researching the ancient dragons. His research into the dragons had prior to the events of Skyrim come to the attention of Delphine, a former Blades agent, who pretended to have employers that were very interested in the dragons. The two apparently cooperated on some research onto the dragons, but we don't know to what extent they actually cooperated, or if Farengar was just reporting to her because she had so-called superiors that were very interested in the dragons. We don't know the exact extent of their relationship, but we know that they knew of each other and that they worked together. His passion for the dragon research is so great that once Odahviing has been captured by the player in Dragon's Reach, Farengar actually tries to take some scales and blood samples from him, full well knowing the risk to his life. Farengar, for all terms and purposes, is a man that's very confident in his own abilities and knowledge, and deems others that are not on his level to be lesser, and avoids arguments with them or even talking to them if he can. He often dismisses the player at the beginning of the game as a brute. However, if the player has a high enough skill to be at least adept in some of the skills that he values, there will be some funny hidden dialogue where Farengar is surprised that you are not a brute and actually know some things. But if you don't, he will remain very condescending and won't have much respect for you, just seeing you as a useful tool for his research. A good example of this is when he asks you to do a delivery and you ask him if you look like a courier to him. And then he will just absolutely destroy you by saying, well, let's see, travel-stained clothes, worn soles, a blank and unintelligent expression. So yeah, you do in fact look like a courier. I just absolutely love his sarcastic remarks, and it's really worth going through his dialogue wheel. And I am honestly surprised that Nazim is often the most hated person in Whiterun, but then again, Farengar, his sarcasm just has something that makes me like him, but you know, I know that some people absolutely hate this guy. And it's not all, because not only you he sees as a brute, but he also sees other warriors as dumb brutes who are below him and dismisses the civil war as a stupid conflict that just limits him in his ability to research. He does not really have much social contacts in Whiterun, as he deems most people living in Whiterun to have inferior intellect, but he does seem to have a friendly relationship with the alchemist of the town, Arcadia. Probably because as an alchemist she has earned his respect for having actual intellectual skill in a skill that he actually values. And it seems like Arcadia also likes our Farengar, as she says that she will test her love potion on him. I have now officially found a Skyrim couple to ship. Farencadia for life. But with that said, we have come to the end of this video. I really hope that you guys like this format where I just do a couple of minor characters in one video for People of the Elder Scrolls, as People of the Elder Scrolls is a series that has never really taken off, and I've only been doing them once every often because to make a real video I need a character with a substantial backstory, but if I can do it in this kind of format, it would actually make sense, because then I can actually make it into good videos. And if you like it, then I might just do more of these videos. If you like this video, like, subscribe, etc. In the description are ways to get in contact with me, like my Instagram and my Discord. If you want to support me in a more personal way, there is my Patreon. What do you get with my Patreon? Your name at the end of every video, a couple of minor Patreon bonuses, and you get access to live lore lectures that I hold every so often for patrons. And the cool thing is, there is one tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow, like within 24 hours. So if you want to be there tomorrow, then I'll advise you to go to my Patreon right now. I do want to warn you that it does not really have any extra value. Being there live gives you the opportunity to ask me questions live, but other than that, it's not really something extra, because the entire lecture will get recorded and then put on YouTube. So if you can't support me and just want to hear the lecture, don't worry about it, it will come on YouTube, because I don't want to exclude non-patrons out of content. But I did want to do something extra for my patrons, so yeah. With that said, I hope that I'll see you in the next video, which will probably be there in a week. I hope so. Maybe shorter. Depends on how much procrastination I have for my exams. We'll see you later.